2, 3, 4, get my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine. 10, gonna do it right and do it again. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to what we have as a new name for our podcast. It is a new year, a new name, new people, no, same people, just a little bit of a change of name. I'll introduce the new name for our podcast very soon, but with me, as always, Wade Brady from EFM Miguel.
G'day, Justin. Happy New Year to you.
Yes, to you too. And to
you
Mike
too,
Dewson from EFM Underdale. How are you, Mike?
I'm good, thank you. Justin, how are you?
Yeah, very well. So we're 2 weeks into the new year. There's a statute of limitations on the Happy New Year. It passed on the 2nd of January, so we don't need to.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I had 2 days. That's all you get. So we have rebranded and renamed our podcast just because what we found is that most people who listen to our podcast don't actually go to an EFM. So they've found the content compelling, but they're not quite sure who the EFM is. So what we've decided to do is call this podcast now Between Sessions, because this is what we do between exercise sessions. And we are a health and fitness podcast, but we are still obviously powered by EFM Health Club. So it's a bit of a mouthful, but Between Sessions, a health and fitness podcast, is our new name with new branding and new content and new everything coming in 2026. This is our 3rd season. Boys, we started off in 2024, late, went all through 25, and we're starting season 3 in 2026. So I'm quite excited. We have a really interesting, well, the world's given us a new topic for today, which we'll go in. Just quickly, boys, anything exciting happen over Christmas, New Year?
Celebrated with the family, did all the fun stuff, had a bit of a rest. Yeah.
I think that's kind of underrated, right? The rest. And we filter that into exercise. It's important to have a little bit of a break occasionally, give your body a bit of repair time. So for the people listening going, oh, I've got to get back in the gym, the break over Christmas probably isn't the worst thing you can do. Keep moving a little bit, but it's not the worst thing.
Absolutely.
It can be for those people that haven't quite got the habit in place, because there's still a couple of people that can't get started again that I know of. But overall, a break, you can springboard off it, which I have. I've started this year in good form. I'm very happy with how my training's started this year. But I think I spent a bit of that time around Christmas thinking I should be doing something. But don't worry, I will when I get started. I'll make up for it. So,
Are there any goals fitness-wise for you boys this year?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Slightly different this year for me. As you boys know, I have taken up circus training.
Yep.
So working on just a bit of fun stuff. And as a 43-year-old male, it's been very interesting to try and, do some of the handstands and the flips and that sort of thing. But my goal this year is to be able to do the splits again. So I used to be able to do them when I was a lot younger, and I'm noticing doing some of the stuff at the circus training, I'm lacking in that area. So by the end of this year, I'm going to be able to do, my goal is to be able to do the side splits.
Wow.
So it's a fitness goal, but a different type of fitness goal.
So will you track your progress on your social media pages?
I can do, actually. That's a great idea. I'm going to do that. Yep. Hadn't thought of that. I've got a full regime. I've got a full workout that I've got to do every couple of days to be able to do this. So that would work nicely, Justin. Good idea.
Yeah. Wade, you got anything? Nothing.
For me, I really just increase my flexibility, become a bit more supple. And the measure for me would be with MyZone, the tracking app and the points, up my monthly total. So that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Pretty simple, yeah.
Yeah, in May, I've entered the 50-kilometer ultra trail race through Katoomba and the Blue Mountains. So I am trying to catch up with my training for that. What I do after May, I'm not sure, but I'm going to try and run the 50-kilometer
Oof.
trail. It's got, I think, somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 meters of elevation. So
Okay.
lots of training involved, like lots of running, lots of
Yeah.
swimming. So
Yeah.
that's the goal for this year. And I actually have no idea how long it's going to take me to run it. A marathon is about 4 hours for me. So it's 3.5 to 4. So I don't know, like 6 with the volume of incline. So
Yeah.
I'm going to
It
start
sounds a
putting,
bit like the Eurobilla Trail that we have here in South Australia.
yeah, there's a whole
I think,
series. Yeah, it
yeah,
is a little nutty. Like
yeah,
I feel 50 is the most I can go without really going full on into training, because there's a 100K race and a 160K race. I think they're a bit beyond me, for my dedication.
for now. For now. Sounds like a challenge, but
Or
anyway.
if I get a little bit more nutty as I get older, I might
Let's hope.
head that way. So anyway, all right, boys. So today the American government has gifted us a podcast topic. They have, and I think a lot of people have missed it, they have reviewed and changed their food pyramid. Now, anybody born since 1985 will know about the food pyramid, and it stacks which foods and in which quantities you should eat, and classifies them in terms of grains and meats and dairy and vegetables and fruits and fats and all of the different categories. They have revised and come up with a new pyramid that's now actually upside down. So what it looks like is that they've actually flipped it. So the large part of the pyramid is on top, and then it goes down to a point, more like a funnel, I guess. So I thought it'd be really good to have a look at the food pyramid, and then we'll all branch off into conversation about what it all means. Have you boys, so did you boys notice anything about this being reported? I didn't see it at all. I read about it and then really had to dig in to find out some details about it.
One of my coaches forwarded, she saw it on social media and sent it to me. It's the only place I've seen it.
Yeah. For such a
I
big
got it from
shift.
you, Justin.
Yeah. Such a big shift in like health and I guess not so much fitness, but in terms of health policy, what you're telling as a government, these are the healthy food guidelines, and everything that flows off that. For it, I guess, in Australia, we're probably not going to get every bit of American TV, but it's also very difficult to find any podcasts or any information about it. And I feel like it's a really big shift in the way the health departments and what flows off in America. This is the basis of how they provide food.
Well, didn't the original food pyramid, which we all learned at school, come from America?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why not update us if that's what we were originally taught?
Yeah. So if we backtrack a little bit, so we were all taught the food pyramid, and it's had different iterations, but it came into being in about 1990. Right. So
1992.
1992. Yeah. So I had this thought that it had always been around, back into the 40s and 50s, and this is the way that people, chose to eat. But it's a very recent thing, and there's been every 5 years in America, and I think we do it in Australia too, and I'm assuming around the world, each health department around the world would do something similar. They update it or make changes depending on what they see as the latest science. So what they've done in inverting it is actually asked people, and I guess industry, to prioritize what is at the top and deprioritize what is down the bottom. So the priority was always to get most of your energy intake and calorie intake from grains. So 5 serves a day of grains, so that wheat and breads and things like that. And then we went up the chain to fats and oils for 1 to maybe 1.5 serves a day. That's been flipped. So the grains are down the bottom. Now, they haven't taken it from 5 to 1. It is still about 2 or 3, but they're saying to prioritize meat products, particularly red meat, to not be afraid of fat in that red meat, and to eat primarily healthy fats. And then the vegetables and fruits remain pretty much the same. The dietary is pretty much the same. So the push, which I think is a bit controversial, is to go away from essentially carbohydrates and into a push of primarily fat-based, protein-based diet. From what I've read, the reaction has been quite mixed, and I can see people, dietitians all around the world, getting fired up. But then there's a whole raft of people who have been advocating for low carbohydrate, high protein diets for a while, and we've read and heard from a lot of them. So it's an interesting push into maybe what the future holds for food.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there is a big push for that high protein at the moment. You go through any supermarket and look in any label, everything's high protein, high protein. That's the selling point at the moment. It's a huge thing. And to clarify there, we are talking more saturated fats here with this. So it is a big shift. I mean, I do like my grains and I do include them into my meals, but probably not as much as it's recommended. I don't think I'll be going down as low as it's being now recommended, if that makes sense. So I'm probably somewhere in the middle with my grains.
I'm very happy with it. I think the way I've eaten has been what the food pyramid was to what it is now. A lot of it was part to do with the EFM leaning challenge, which we ran a number of years ago now. That really changed the way I thought about food and how I felt when I increased, the proteins, the healthy fats, and reduced the carbs. Like for me personally, I would never go back the other way because I'd feel way more sluggish, and that's just me. And with that challenge we used to run, which was a bit extreme, that's why we got rid of it. I found pretty much 90% of the people that made that shift all felt better for it too. So I'm a fan of it. I know people are, fat's been made out to be the bad guy for a number of years, but it can go pretty deep on this. Like some fats, we are talking not trans fats, which you'll find at your fast food restaurants and stuff, but the stuff that's in meat, if you've got a sick animal that's been cooped up in a cage for its whole life versus a game animal or a kangaroo or something that's been in a lot of a healthier environment, like there's better fats than others even within saturated. Like you can go deep on this stuff. What did you say before we started recording? 10% of people say they follow the food pyramid anyway. But probably my point is with the food pyramid, the original one, I think people our age learnt it at school, and it's like that first thing you learn is like the default knowledge that is hard to move and it's like, I don't know, I still feel like that because that was the first thing I ever learned, that is still got this truth around it. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's not. It's things do change, and as you said at the start, I think they update these guidelines every 5 years because more and more research is done. So I just think for these people, the masses out there that don't really follow this stuff closely, they were taught it at school, and that's just the knowledge they carry through forever. And you really have to go out of your way to learn about this. Sorry, I got a bit off track there from your question.
No, that's right. So it should be noted, Australia's going through a review at the moment. We're obviously in Australia. We're going through a review, and I think sometime next year, our guidelines might either change, stay the same, but there will be the end of that review, and then they'll probably start another review after that. And there's some pretty high-flying, professors and associate professors that provide information to our health authority that looks into this. So it'll be interesting to see if they follow, I guess, the lead. I think you're right, Wade. Like, there is a default to what you've like learned originally. So a lot of us, and a lot of people eat a very high carb diet, and I have conversations with people all the time. I go, okay, what do you have for breakfast? If we're trying to hit the right target for carbohydrate, not in this setting, but even just hit the established targets in Australia, and most people are over that I find who want to talk to me about it. Oh, what do you have for breakfast? And I go, oh, I have like 6 wheat bix. Okay, well, is there something else you can have? Well, what about cornflakes? I go, well, no, can we get all that? But it's almost been ingrained to us, no pun intended, that you eat grains and that you eat cereals for breakfast. Or if you don't feel like cereal, you have toast, and you have 4 pieces of toast.
Yeah.
Like, and then as a treat, you might have bacon and eggs.
I can't understand that there's fiber in that, but the nutritional value in all
but
that
it's just
stuff.
It's that established, like, that's what I do, and I can't envision another way to do it.
Yeah.
And it is sold to us. It's sold to us day to day with the advertising and all of these shiny boxes that say, look at the ads now that say, I think it's Cocoa Pops, a version of Cocoa Pops, have got a 4-star rating, health rate or some crap, which is exactly palm.
How much did that cost Kellogg's?
Yeah, and it's probably got a few things in it that make it slightly, better than the other version. But no, that's not what we want to be giving our kids, or anybody should be eating. It is sold to us. It is pushed down our throats. Eat cereal. That's breakfast. This is what it is. And like you said, if not breakfast, cereal, toast. It's the same thing.
It's funny how normal and proper that feels. Like, I think an example when you get that realization that it's not everyone. Like when you go to if you stay at a motel or something and you go to the breakfast thing in the morning and there's Asian crew eating what they eat for breakfast, and you might look at it and think, God, what are they having for breakfast? And theirs probably going to set them up way better for the day.
It's much better. I love it. Yeah,
Mm.
that's a great breakfast. Give me that type of breakfast every morning. It's much better for you.
And so you alluded to it before, Wade. So doing a bit of digging research, what we found out was that, so the healthy eating guidelines in America, we assume America's pretty bad at following the instructions, right? We know it's an obese society and whatever. 10% of people follow, or reportedly are happy to say, yes, I use the healthy eating guidelines to plan my day and eat, which I thought was ridiculously low. So 9 out of every 10 people don't follow healthy eating guidelines in America. And there's a whole range. I don't live in America. There's probably a whole range of reasons why getting proteins and fresh fruit and vegetables might be a bit difficult. But doing a bit more digging, I found that in Australia, that number drops to 5%. 5% of Australians follow the healthy eating guidelines set down by our health department, which I found really quite amazing.
That's terrible.
5 out of every 100 people, is pretty shocking. And drilling down into that, we found that a lot of it comes down to fruit and vegetables. So I think it was 56% of people eat the required amount of fruit every day. So only 56%, mm-hmm. and only 5% eat the correct amount of vegetables per day.
5%.
So 95% of people in Australia who, reportedly, who are happy to have their food analysed, are eating the correct amount of vegetables per day, which
95% are not eating the correct.
Shocking, but probably doesn't surprise me.
I was a bit surprised at that. No, I thought it might have been a little bit better, but it's truly shocking. That's terrible.
I would have guessed
eat
20%.
more vegetables.
I would have thought that. I thought 20% would have been low, but I would have guessed about. Wow.
Yeah. So I guess to me
5%.
It begs the question. And we can dig into this. There's lots of things. I guess getting away from the food pyramid a little bit, we get into this question about, can these types of governmental programs and settings and guidelines actually sway people's behaviors? Do people know about it? / do they care about it? And Wade, we've had this conversation numerous times. I don't think people want to be educated. I think there's more than enough education. But this very quiet release of this food pyramid, like, which I see as quite a big shift, very quietly entered the news and disappeared just as quickly. So maybe there's education, but you really need to go and figure it out yourself.
I just want to pick you up there on something. I don't think people want to be educated, but I think if you could sneak the education into people, you know what I mean? Like if there were campaigns on the TV all the time, the information would be going in. But if people want, I don't think people want to be educated, or else they would be going out and finding out this information for themselves, and 95% of people would hit their veggie quota per day.
Yeah.
So I think it's different.
That's almost a sadder reality that people don't want to be educated.
I wonder if people, I know we definitely lived in a very big time for a while there where people didn't want to be educated. I wonder now if people are more so, they want the option. They want to hear all the good, they want to hear all the bad. They know it's good, they know it's bad, and they still want to make their own decision because everybody's got an opinion these days and everybody needs to hear about it, apparently. That's why we have social media. But I wonder if people, like we say, if you put those campaigns and those programs on, pushing it down our throats, are people going to take all that on board and do anything about it? That's the thing I worry about. People, it's almost acceptable. I'm not attacking body shaming, but we have this thing where we're not allowed to comment or we're not allowed to say it's big is beautiful, everything's beautiful, blah blah blah. Well, as trainers, we know that's not always the case. So is it going to matter? Are people going to go, oh yeah, I understand, I could be doing this, I could be eating much better, I could be changing that, but apparently it's okay to be this way and this size and this healthy, so I don't have to do that. Are people going to just get this information and choose not to do it, listen to it anyway? Yeah, that's what I worry about.
Another thing would be the trust in media and government, probably as low as it's ever been in our lifetime. Like that'd be another factor, I would say. Being bombarded with information and probably just getting to a point where you just go, I'll give up. I'll just eat what I want.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think one of this type of food pyramid release allows for almost a reset. Like it should allow for a reset.
It should. It really could, and it should. Yeah.
But look, I don't know much about American politics, and I don't want to get into it, but I understand like Donald Trump is in the White House and the guy Kennedy is in charge of this department, and he has both his followers, I think, in the same volume of people as Donald Trump, and then therefore has as many detractors. And with him involved in it, this thing seems quite political. Because what it does do, and I think it does it in Australia too, this feeds into, they have school lunches. So this guideline feeds into how they feed their children at school. It feeds into, again, no pun intended, the way that, I want to say nursing homes and aged care facilities provide food for their elderly residents. So it has implications for large swathes of people. But the one detraction here, it has seemed to get fairly political. And hopefully when Australia does its review and if it makes any changes, it won't have that same kind of political stigma attached, so that we can get on with making sure that, more than 5% of Australians eat the correct amount of vegetables in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's, for one, looking at this new pyramid, what do we think of it? What are our opinions on the structure of it as trainers? I like it. I'm going to say I think it's a good swap. We should be looking at eating more of those healthy fats, and people should be looking at using that more as energy. But like you just said, I think are we majoring in the minor here and trying to focus on a huge big thing when we can't even get people to eat vegetables? Should we just be focusing on that one simple thing first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that they've flipped it, because anytime you read something, you start at the top left and work your way down. I think there's a power in that. But the first thing you see is veggies, isn't it? That was first, and then proteins.
Top left is actually a massive steak followed by a full turkey, which is a little misleading. It's asking you to eat a whole turkey. That's what it looks like. But veggies and fruits are right next to it in big, bold. Yeah. There's actually no...
the fruit's not separated.
It's all kind of clumped together. It's not sectioned off perfectly the way it used to be. It used to be lines. There's no lines anymore. But
put it this way: the first big bit you see at the top, what is it? Clean eating.
Yeah, whole foods.
So
And that should be the message.
That's a great start.
Yeah, that should be the message. Clean eating, whole foods. It's simple, really, but
well, they've increased the protein recommended protein amount. Usually it was like 1 gram per kilo of your body weight up to 1.2. It's now 1.2 to 1.6. So, and prioritizing red meat. Okay, so the only thing with red meat is it has saturated fat, and they're saying eat saturated fat, but still keep it at about 10% of your total. So of your total calorie intake. The only issue is eating the volume of protein that you need while keeping your saturated fat at a level that's acceptable is so tricky. You're walking a tightrope. Obviously there's boundaries here, and it's not linear, but to run that line is quite difficult, and would take some different eating. So one thing I've been recommending to some of my members who don't get enough iron, they don't eat beef for religious reasons, is to try and make a change to kangaroo. So really super lean meat, high in iron, high in protein, higher than beef. Fantastic.
Super tasty.
Yeah, I like it. I know it's very strong, and you have to eat it rare if it's quite thick, but really undervalued meat. But it's that same concept of breakfast. No, I ate cereals for breakfast. No, I couldn't possibly eat a kangaroo. They're just jumping around. Like, they're nice. So apparently a cow is all right,
Yes.
Yeah, they're awful animals. Yeah.
Chicken?
Chicken? Who cares?
Yeah.
Kangaroo, my God. No, I saw it in a TV show.
Yeah. Jeez. Yep.
Yeah. So there is like, it is quite tight to follow all of these recommendations. I think we'd like to get a dietitian on in a few weeks. We'll let the Boffins diet in dietetics digest the new food pyramid completely and come back. We'll try and find a good dietitian to explain it all to us and how it affects us in Australia and around the world, if America is truly going to lead the way in a change of eating habits. We'll be back either next week or the week after with our pre-season training episode. We're all getting back into fitness again, and we're going to talk about how, if you are training for something specific like myself, or it's football season or it's tennis season, whatever it might be, what we do at this point in time to start training to get your fitness to a level it needs to be. But also at this time of year, you've had a few weeks off, which I encourage. It's almost pre-season time. You have to get started and build that base so that, come winter when the days are short and things get hard to, get into the gym, you'll be fully fit and being able to perform in whatever it is you want to do. So that's the plan over the next week or so. And then
we have a guest. Did you say we have a guest lined up for this one?
No.
Possibly.
Possibly. Okay.
Possibly a guest for this one.
Yeah. And we will also be more active on social media this year, providing clips from previous podcasts. We have such a wealth of knowledge come through all of our guests that we've had over the last 50-odd episodes. So we're going to disseminate that as much as possible and get as many people listening to this, and then we'll be able to get bigger and higher profile guests as we go. But that'll do us for today. I hope you learned something food-wise. Go and have a look at the food pyramid. It is interesting. There's 400 pages of backstory to it. Don't read that. Just have a look and have a read of maybe some AI-generated summaries. That's probably as good. And then go and eat more vegetables.
More vegetables.
Yes, I give our listeners some homework this week. Have a look at that pyramid, eat more vegetables, and tell your friends, tell 2 friends or 3 friends about the pyramid. Have a look at it. Give them a vegetable or a piece of fruit to eat while they do it.
And with your colours, can you see over my shoulder here, one of the kids' toys? Rainbows. Eat all the colours.
Absolutely.
All the colours.
Easy
There
way
we
to
go.
do
That's
it.
another good one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right,
Eat
that'll
your
do it,
vegetables,
boys.
kids.
Thank you. The first ever Between Sessions podcast in the books. You can find Wade at EFM McGill, Instagram and Facebook, Mike at EFM Underdale, Instagram and Facebook, and myself at EFM Westmead. We also have the EFM Health Club podcast Instagram page, which will be soon having its name updated to Between Sessions. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Righto.
See ya.